The dark cloud cracks. It is like a great eye, slowly opening up in the void. Reflected within is none other than the dark spire last seen 23 years ago. Right in between the twin spires. Right where it used to be. Was the Genesis spire ever truly tumbled? Did her confront, the Witch King, ever truly die? Did every Leithanian's nightmare just return? Or did it never leave?
The sound of the cello is gone. Archeria.
Herjala.
The knot is moving. It's a warning from Lessing and the Lich. This place isn't normal. Extinguish your candle. Frautrost. Don't use any arts. I have no idea what's going to happen next.
The stairs. They've changed. Is this some kind of arts? An illusion created by Frau Jello's music? Or something else? Hair ebb and holes. Only faint footsteps.
Soon. Not even that. The spiral staircase continues to extend further and further, until its end is no longer in sight. Am I walking up or down? Viviana feels her consciousness grow distant. All she knows for sure is that she is alone on these stairs. The sun is about to set. Soon, all the clouds will fade away with the last thread of golden light.
We need to destroy the Genesis horn. Quickly.
Are you giving up? You conspired with the Lich to use it to obtain her confronter's ultimate power, right?
That power. Getting it under control would mean granting Leithanien her sharpest sword. But Fremont, I have tried so many different methods to force our way into that space.
It's really something. The one who finally managed to open the way was an outsider.
Whatever her motives, she has given us a chance. I will not allow an unknown threat to continue looming over Leithanien. Of course, I would rather it descend more safely and discreetly. But at least we can end it now.
If you've made up your mind, the likes will show you to the throne of the Witch King.
Young Lich, you've been here all along?
Don't misunderstand me. Leithanien's eternal grace. I am but a lowly messenger. Kill me. You will gain nothing but a thread scattered on the wind. I have received a message from the Master. He is presently within the Genesis horn. Only by joining forces with the austere authority to once again strike down the power of her contender, will you disperse the dark clouds hanging over Zwilsgintru.
Very well then.
But the Master also warns that the Genesis horn is as unstable as you and he both anticipated. Once her contender's power dissipates, the spire of the Witch King within the void will collapse. Losing the barrier between reality and Kargrik may cause a more serious problem. When the final moment comes, your choice will decide the fate of Leithanien, as it ever has.
But a single thread, likes always come and go with the wind, free enough to be oh so irritating.
Michael,
I'm here.
find the Lich from before, and the young man raised by Fremont. Do what you can to protect the people in the amphitheater, in the off chance that...
There is no off chance. You and Yugi Janet will surely return victorious.
Once more, what is our mission?
2. Eliminate any threat to Leithanien at its source.
Good. The Gessets Watcher stand ready. Remember, your signal is my command. When the time comes, if there are no new orders, they will act.
Grinnet.
Leosa told, we should move out to...
Both the Likes and the Kurfürsten, always talking about the fate of Leithanien. What about our fate? We've been here, atop the 2 tallest spires in Leithanien for over 2 decades. Does Leithanien really belong to us? Or are we still just her chosen vessels carrying the fate of the country on sword and shield?
Let's deal with the problem at hand first.
That's a sentence I've heard too many times now. Our duet remains tacit, but this is the way we were born, no? So long as we play, we cooperate. That is the mission we have been given.
No matter the time, we will always have our understanding.
Indeed, I have no doubt that we will once again achieve victory for Leithanien. But sooner or later, you will have to face me to answer me. Hildegard, When we kill her confront again, what will you want to do? You're taking such great risks to bring the future to Leithanien. But what is that future?
It's getting louder.
You can't kill the echoes. They died a long time ago. And they're emerging from another space. The twins are ready to enter the Genesis horn. The spatial turbulence will be more intense there. We'll need to use strings to hold the horn, but who knows how long we can drag it.
Go. This is something only a lich can do. As for me, I must cover the old man and Ebonhol's retreat. Only by blocking these dark things can the people be safe. That's the only way those who've entered the Genesis horn can return safely.
Do you need me to stitch up your wounds for you?
Mean. The pain keeps me awake.
I nearly forgot. Right. That's what allows you to move undisturbed by the notes. Unlike the other Leithanians in the amphitheater, who've mostly succumbed to the altered tune of the golden segist. That's a good thing too. If they heard the sounds of the remnants emanating from the land of the dead, they'd lose their minds.
The Gessett's Watcher and the Twin Empresses are doing what they can to weave melodies and defend the people's sanity. Once the Kaiserin stop playing and enter the Genesis horn, only the Gessett's Watcher will be left.
Their arts are very strong, but arts are arts. How can they resist the chaos of the void? The same goes for you, Lessing. Both your body and your will are being consumed. Your blood will run dry.
That I'm not an immortal lich?
So what if you were? It is precisely because we're likes that we understand the absolute nature of chaos. It's like Huntebelmus knowledge.
Then, what should we do? Admit our insignificance and helplessness. Do nothing, and wait for a greater power to crush us? Wait for your chaos to devour us? I won't. I'd rather take my life into my own hands and listen to the sound of the last drop of blood falling from my wounds as I collapse.
Stubborn. I still remember all those years ago when the Master rescued you from the Gendarmerie. We all thought you were minutes from death. You were so small, so thin, so fragile. Like you would shatter if touched by a strand of thread. But you survived. Covered in scars, with a temperament more and more like the Master.
Dunk. It was you who helped me survive. Just like the likes have helped Leithanien for so many years.
The twins are moving. I should find the other likes. Lessing, my unorthodox little brother. I'll listen for your voice on the wind. I just hope what I find with my threads won't be your dying breath.
The dead don't feel pain or exhaustion. They surge endlessly from the cracks between reality and chaos, repeating the last howl they gave before death.
Once the movement is gone, will it be just you making such noise? It sounds truly awful.
He slowly unwinds the wrappings on his longsworth. The cloth is long enough to use to cover his ears, but he doesn't do that. After so many years of hard work, Lessing has grown accustomed to focusing all his attention on the edge of his blade.
The theme of Leithanien will be rewritten by each and every one of us. And before that, it's just a battle. Victory or defeat, life or death, none of it bears consideration.
I admire your experience, courage, and achievements, Herr Confront. You overthrew prejudice and the old order more firmly entrenched than the spires are now and brought opportunity to every Leithanien. You gave the nation unprecedented vitality, and were to be revered as the greatest monarch in its history. But then you pushed the country into war, erected even more terrifying spires, and inflicted suffering 100 times more painful to the very people you had given hope to. You were ruined by your own desires.
Herkenftwinder, our widespread standards, our harmonious melodies, and our arts and morals make Leithanien what she is. But you rocked her foundations, undermined her survival, and made her your own vassal. Your meddling turned the entire country into a resource to be exploited. And it is only righteous that everything you have explored or mastered belongs to Leithanien. So we're here to retrieve it.
A spire that remains only as a shadow should not exist in the first place. To think it actually lingered over Leithanien these past 23 years. What did you call it earlier? Your pavila. A palace. No matter. Today will be your last, and this place shall serve as your final grave.
A ridge and Yama cluster surge from thin air, first hitting Grimmick's blade before fragments splash onto Yogi Janita's shield. Black and red unite into one. A dazzling gold, an intense purple. Their arts are condensed to their very limits, like intangible, primitive blocks of color. They collide, but cannot blend into each other, and only splash before the throne, seizing every inch of space. An ear-splitting rhythm accompanies the explosion of colors. Their weapons, originally instruments, perform to movements into completely different styles, at the same time and place. Brass, woodwinds, strings, percussion, keyboards, and even bell trees, as well as death whistles. The rusty reeds beneath Sargon's golden sands, the flame, red amber under the sludge of the black flow, the rootless flowers buried deep in the frostbound soil of Sami, and the boundless chaos itself in this Kargrik. A cosmos coexists with its voice within the Witch King's melody. Notes are woven, conducted, and played by his hand, notes to sing a melody of the Witch King. Notes to sing a melody for the Witch King. This mortal realm will never again know a symphony this clamorous, harsh, and illogical, yet also spectacular, majestic, and striking. Yugi Genet and Grimmick's duet is so simple in comparison. The notes gently rise and sharply fall, with the dignified and imposing pipe organ resembling a castle encircled by mountains, while the ethereal violin is like a waterfall pouring by the citadel. The sound of water splashing onto rock is still clearly audible in the room furthest from the waterfall, but even in the closest it does not sound so noisy. The two act like one, their movements as harmonious as if they had never split. The symphonies sing a war song to generations of Leithanien, a Kaiser's fight before the throne. The entire pavilion, both their sand table and military formation. History bends and ruidens at this moment. Gaul's flagship crosses the river valley under Corsica, eyes lit. Soldiers bumping shoulders as they form a thick cloud and tear apart Sturmelin's iron curtain like defense line. And then her confronter's silhouette introduces its reign at the pinnacle. He stands atop the spire, heaven and earth at his beck and call. The elements, thunderbolts, and sandstorms are all at his disposal, to swallow everything. Under the omnipresent dust clouds of blood, Yuga Genet and Grimmick's movements are unremarkable. They sneak into Vidunin under the cover of night, and with a feint from the Kurfürsten's coalition army, and make a beeline for the spire. The spire opens its doors, welcoming its visitors. The unsuspecting spire casters rush into formation, and one by one turn into the red leaves of late autumn. Shield and sword shatter the Genesis spire, just like that night 23 years ago.
My pavilion, and everything in it, are disintegrating, die. The pavilion. This imperishable hall is not my creation, nor the work of anyone else. It is the accumulation of mankind's immeasurable sacrifices. Technology, arts, evolutionary exploration, choice, every regret, every affection, and every resentment, every hope, and every despair, every thought, and every prayer, the birth and death of every civilization, everything remembered and everything forgotten. The pavilion is humanity. The pavilion is our will. Through annihilation the will has taken form, and from chaos the order was given birth. A will true to reveal the origin. A will firm to conquer the source, a ridge in Yama. The beginning of annihilation and the source of chaos were both mine to wield. And thus I compelled Origin Yama to reveal the nature of its being, to present the fact of its origin. But I became aware that no matter how Origin Yama grows, overwrites. It speaks the same truth, a truth laid bare right before our eyes all along. It says the Creator, who was at the source of making, was also a creation. It says the Dominator reigned long before its domain came to exist. It says hope is lost, and eternity is no more. And what truth did I obtain but heavier chains, and a more ruthless resolve at the origin, the root of all creation? Undeniable as the silence of death, unextinguishable as the light of stars. Cruel was the maker. Vile was the maker. Sly was the maker. By his hands our determination was shattered, but not damned, maimed, but not overthrown. It forged our sharpest sword. It built our toughest prison. The truth is laid bare for all to see. But how can a seeker challenge the truth with their volition and sanity splintered? Let the truth be seen by all eyes. Let the reason be heard to all ears. Your determination has guided you to my pavilion. More will follow. You will see in me a nightmare, a traitor to freedom, a tyrant. But if the Genesis spire has failed to reach the boundary with its thrust, then a pioneer must be there to step foot on a place beyond space and time. If the road of all creation poses nothing but shackles, then we shall be the hands holding its chains. If the Creator has willed the extinction of his creation, then we shall be the bell to toll his demise. Hearken well, hearken Thunder's ultimate vision, his sin, his final will. The Creator must perish. I see that your power has grown since our last meeting, twins. The portion of her confront, which he discarded long ago, is standing before him. But you have perceived not yourselves, and know not freedom. You have relinquished humanity. I had hoped Leithanie's sword and shield to be more than weapons. Heed, my audience. You have come before the throne to seek an answer, to pass down a verdict. Only a man's answer can sate his kin. Only a monarch's verdict can convict his equals. If you sin fast till the very end, you must see what I didn't, and be what I wasn't. Hope may be gone. Eternity may be lost. Their death marked but the end of her confluender, a monarch's downfall. Leithanien shall stand, whose light will outshine the tallest beacon of hope. Leithanien shall live, whose name will outlast the longest river of time.
He sees a rhapsody. He roars a fanfare. He demands a concerto. Now thunders have joined the chorus.
We can still fight. Is that the outside? Is this a passage? We can exit through it.
Viviana, find Fremont and ensure that everyone in this space returns to Tierra.
What about you and Grimmett?
Naturally, we'll fulfill the duty we've always shouldered.
To keep any and all threats away from Leithanien.
Finally, just the two of us now.
The final melody has already resounded. Leosa told, your shield will cover the Twin Towers and everyone under the spires.
And your sword.
My fate has long since been decided, from the moment I stepped into this place. No, from even before that. Once the Genesis horn broke away from the plan's Fremont and I had drafted for it, and descended upon the center of Zwilsgentru, there was only one choice left to me.
Indeed. Hildegard is there. Nothing else you want to ask me? Well, sure enough, your response is pretty much what I expected. The passage is closing rapidly. Darkness rushes in, filling up the tiny cracks that should not exist. Wrapped in the dark fog are countless restless eyes, swarming towards the two of them and the reality behind them. A shade of gold brushes past a hue of black.
Harkenflunder built a spire here, establishing order amidst chaos. As one who's inherited his power and even killed him, naturally I'll be able to surpass him in this as well. The eyes in the void, the threats within the chaos, the beings condensed from fear, The enemies who do not exist in reality. Demons. I, Grimmick, Kaiserin of Leithanien, and her sharpest sword. Hereby declare that you will never invade my country.
A radiant blaze blossoms from Grimmick's sword. The fragments of the Genesis spire scattered in the void reunite under the command of her arts, erecting a new spire. The monument stands between Kargrik and reality, blocking the eyes in the dark from prying on all living existence. The twin spires in reality, the people beneath them, and the clouds above all blend into one under her light, becoming a blurry warm ripple, gradually drifting away from her. Grimmick does not look back. Her arts, her sword, and her body have all become one with the pitch-black monument.
They all say you are impossible to defeat. Be it here and now, or in the distant future, I will be undone by chaos before joining it. This is my fate. But it is absolutely not the fate of Leithanien and her people.
The sunset? It's back. So beautiful.
Did something fall from the sky?
That's...
The irregular dark clouds crack open. A clearly visible hue of gold shines through the grim sky, gracefully caressing everyone's faces with its light. Leithanen's people wake up from their dystopian nightmare, and are immediately greeted by dazzling clouds of rosy gold descending between the twin spires. No one knows who started it, but the people involuntarily begin to play the instruments in their hands. It is no longer the golden segist, or any other familiar classical piece. A brand new melody accompanying the multicolored radiance of Originyama arts echoes the excitement in everyone's hearts, flowing spontaneously under the rosy clouds.
Did you see that, Federico? Leithanen's new hero. No. The birth of a new god. The one who killed her Kampftwinder for the second time, neutralized Leithanen's calamity, and brought hope and vitality back to the people of this great land. Leithanen's sole Kaiserin Yugigenid, the eternal grace. She will replace the Genesis spire completely, and become the sovereign of Leithanen's skies, more splendid than the gold of the sunset itself. Gold durs will skin true. The people are ecstatic, and her wish is fulfilled. But this newborn god, she sheds a tear. The brilliance of her golden radiance snatches away everyone's attention, leaving the tear rolling off her face to remain in darkness for eternity.